This is the 40 Days for Life podcast with your host, Sean Carney.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm Sean Carney, the president of 40 Days for Life and your host for this podcast, which is dedicated to helping you end abortion where you live. And as always, we have a life-changing episode for you today. You will not be the same. You could be better. You will probably be worse. We are going to do a back by popular demand movie, pro-life movie podcast. Maybe didn't intend to be a pro-life movie, but ended up a pro-life movie podcast. And joining me is somebody who is secretly under the radar, a very sophisticated expert in all things movies, and that is our general counsel, Mr. Matt Britton. Matt, how are you?
I'm great. I am a movie guy.
You are a movie guy, and you're a good movie guy, and you've given me some good recommendations. You're good at critiquing and breaking things down and analyzing, and, you know, this is what we have as Americans. We don't paint ceilings. We don't have nice portraits. We make phenomenal movies, and the world gives us a ton of money to do so.
I do have a line in the sand. When I hit I have 8 kids. So, man, when I hit the grind and I was DA and working, and so there's like 97 to whatever.
And mine is 06 to like 2015, you know, when like Jurassic World came out and somebody said there's a new Jurassic Park. And I'm like, what? And you know, you kind of forget what a movie theater's like and all of that. And so, and I skipped Marvel. I could care less about Marvel. But,
oh, me too, totally.
Yeah.
All those GA. But, you know, the great thing about this podcast is these are movies that, like you said, may or may not have meant to be a movie. They're not the obvious ones, but the movies that are pro-life and celebrate life. And that's just the way it is, because that is the truth.
It is the truth. And we have a celebrity, we're going to call her a celebrity, guest on the podcast, somebody who... She's been in everything. She was in Seinfeld. She's in Forrest Gump. She got her start on Saturday Night Live. If you have not seen New in Town, you've got to see her in New in Town. Her track record and her comedic track record is awesome, and that is our wonderful, wonderful friend, Siobhan Fallon Hogan. Siobhan, welcome.
Thank you for having me. And I was just thinking, as you were both talking, you both have so many kids together. You should do a documentary about all your children.
Yes, that would be something. You could be the bus driver like you were in Forrest Gump.
I could pick them up.
We could reenact it and Matt and Sean's kids.
With your 2 families, we might need 2 buses.
Just for clarification, when she says together,
combined.
Oh,
we're
no,
married
yes.
to women, Siobhan.
Right.
I know you were in Hollywood all those years. You know, you may have some other beliefs.
And New York.
Listen,
you guys have so many kids together. How New York of you?
I'm so old-fashioned. I don't even know when I'm making a joke. Like, your guys are more hip than I am. They caught on to something that I didn't even mean.
I believe.
Matter of fact,
I'm
such an egomaniac being an actress that, Sean, when you introduced Matt with such a fabulous introduction, I was ready to go. And you're like, and now we have attorney Matt. And I was like, huh?
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so on this, I think you should start. I'm interested to see what's on your list.
Okay, well, can I start also by saying what a blessing it is actually to have Siobhan here? She's been a recent but great friend in my life. She's given me the honor of reviewing her great play, which is about a serious subject, but which is handled with aplomb and humor, which I think is important, because without humor, we get anxious, and then we despair, and then that's the opposite of hope. Mm-hmm. And so thank you, Siobhan. It's a great play, and I wish you all of the best in the world getting it, and people need to see that.
And we met you. We just hit it off with you. We just had way too much fun and couldn't stop laughing. And then we brought you down to Texas. We have another project that will come out later that you and I were working on, and it's just been a delight.
Well, I think what you're saying, Matt, about humor, that you guys have the same humor that I have, and we just did hit it off immediately. My sister was with me, Megan, at the time when we met, and it was just, humor is just something that bonds people.
Yeah, my dad used to say, yeah, it's like we didn't grow up in the same neighborhood together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as though we were grew
Yeah.
up together from the womb to the tomb, and soulmates, which
Yes.
Sean and I are, but not that kind of mates. Like we have
Right.
a lot of kids combined, but not together.
Not
Just
together.
to be
Exactly.
clear again,
As we
not
had
that
to emphasize.
not that I'm worried.
But I've met Sean's beautiful wife. I have yet to meet your wife, Matt. And
But
my
you have
God,
seen a picture.
Awesome.
A redhead like you.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
She's not she's not nuts like you.
Alien Romulus.
I didn't mature past 5th grade, but I'm.
Alien Romulus. Back to the point.
Oh, you went recent.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm only going recent this
Oh
time.
well, okay.
Alien Romulus. So, Aliens,
Yes.
as you know, is one of the two great sequels, T2 and Aliens, where you could actually argue the sequel's better.
So Ridley Scott did Alien, and then James Cameron comes along and does Aliens.
And he turned the light up.
He turned the
So
light
you
up.
could actually see stuff.
Right.
But that's, I don't know if you've been keeping up with
Yeah,
current events,
man.
man. Yeah, so
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. And so Alien Romulus is not a good movie. It's a ripoff of the other movies, which I guess you can do when you own the rights to it, since I'm a lawyer.
It's well shot though.
Siobhan
It's got
knows.
some cool scenes.
But when the creature grabs onto the girl's face and impregnates her, she defends the creature and doesn't want them. They have an injection. Ever heard of that? They have an injection which will kill and she's calling it her child. Her child. She's not calling it a morphed half fetus, but she's protecting it because she thinks there's a medicine that will save it and that it won't be mean, even though she knows it's going to be half alien, half human. So, look, if you haven't seen
It's
Alien,
pretty good because that came out a year and a half ago.
last year,
Summer.
I don't know, in 2024. at some
Oh
point.
yeah, so, I mean totally post Roe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where
They
now
still
we're
did
all
it.
walking on eggshells.
And the whole thing's about it. And I mean, and she does so you have these movies that are pro-life that you pick where mothers do anything to defend their children. I have one later. But this is where a young woman who is not a mother, she was essentially raped by an alien, does anything that she can to protect what she calls her child. So that is my recommendation. Good movie, not great. Look for it.
I love it. One of many times, the only time on this podcast where we'll say the mom was raped by an alien.
I'll
But
bet-
it's just one of those moments.
Siobhan,
in
what do you
life.
think? There's
Please bring it above board.
8.5 million people in the world. Do you think any of them right now, any of them are saying raped by an alien? No. I think
There's
this is
no one saying that
a
right now.
unique podcast.
Yeah, that was good. I saw it. I enjoyed it. I took some of the teenagers. They loved it.
But you didn't notice what I noticed. 'Cause
I didn't.
Yeah, right.
No, I didn't. I did not walk out. And I'm
Okay,
usually
guess
looking for
what?
that stuff.
I have one.
Go
Great.
for it.
Is it still Matt's turn?
No.
We're moving to
Okay,
you.
you're not going to believe this. I just saw this movie in the movie theater this weekend. It's called The Ballad of Wallace Island, and it's genius. It is so great. It's these two British in real life best friends. It's Tim Fay. I forgot the other guy's name. Anyway, and it's about this guy who won the lottery twice, and he invites this musician who he has idolized forever to come and give a concert on this remote island in Wales. And when he gets there, he realizes the concert's just for one person. So he's like, this guy's a freak. And he brings, so this famous singer has a girl that he dated forever, but it didn't work out. And they sang together in the early days, and he brings her, but she comes with her husband. And you think it's going to be an affair. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but ends up, you think that they're going to get back together. But she's got this husband, and you think there's going to be a loyalty thing. And she says, I'm pregnant. And I won't divulge the rest of it, but it's a beautiful movie.
What's it called?
The Ballad of Wallace Island.
You know, do actors like, because you said, I remember this guy Faye, but I can't remember the other guy.
I know,
I'm
isn't that
just thinking
terrible?
as an actor.
Wouldn't
you might
that
be-
actor be so happy? I'll have to look it up.
Wouldn't you be happy if they were? We
I know,
all
wouldn't it be like,
remember
what's
yours.
your face?
You were in like every movie of the 90s. But
Right, and you
a
know
lot of
people are saying,
probably
"What?
didn't know
Who
you.
is that? What's your name again?"
Well, you're the lady in Men in Black who gives the sugar water. And they're like, she's in a scene with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. And then there's like that redheaded lady. Yeah.
I know it's terrible. People are
That's
always like,
how great of an
"Can I
actress
go to
you are."
school with you?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Wait." But anyway, it's a beautiful movie.
Okay. Is it my turn?
It is your.
And I've got to go down a little bit of a rabbit trail because I did some extensive research you're only going to hear about on the 40 Days for Life podcast. Okay, I've talked about this movie a lot. I'm going old school, just great classic. I'm doing Jurassic Park, but I recently watched it. We had a huge storm come through, so I watched it again with the kids like a couple Sundays ago. It is way more pro-life than I remember, okay? Number one, Michael Crichton is obviously doing his, he's a Catholic. The whole ethics and do we have the morals to manage science and Ian Malcolm is you were so obsessed with whether you could, you didn't think of whether you should, and that's just the whole theme. I also like that Ian Malcolm loves kids, but he's kind of the playboy, right? He's hitting on Dr. Grant's like fiance or whatever she is in the helicopter, but he's still like he's pro-life, he loves kids. Here's the theory. This is what I noticed. I think Dr. Grant is on the board of Planned Parenthood. So he's the scientist, and he's got his wife. She's not like a feminist, but she's like a scientist, and she wants children, okay? And he doesn't want children. And there is a real-life victim to this, and it's the kid who comes up and says, "That's not very scary. It's like a 6-foot turkey." And Dr. Grant scares the hell out of this kid, okay, by telling him the story about the raptors. And the point is, they're alive when they start to eat you. You're alive when they start to eat you, so show a little respect. And then he walks off. I think the kid can hear him, and he says, "I don't want that kid," right? I think he's on the board of Planned Parenthood. He is willing to sacrifice himself and save the children from the dinosaurs throughout the movie. And by the end, it's clear that he wants a family of his own. So that is my theory. And Dr. Grant eventually gets off the board of Planned Parenthood and has a family of his own.
And just to protect Sean as his lawyer in the entire 40 Days for Life, it's merely opinion and parody. We don't know that Dr. Grant is even real. We suspect he is.
Yeah, so that was my. I recently watched it at the age of 43, and this was my new take.
Oh my!
Watching Dr. Grant's conversion and how he really is pretty rude to this poor little kid at the beginning. He like hates kids.
You're psychotic. I'm next, and I know
you're talking about the aliens raping people.
That happened. They're around every corner for he's the Prince of Lies. Hey, Macbeth, Fassbender's Macbeth. I'm doing this for Siobhan. Macbeth is my next one, specifically Michael Fassbender, and I can't remember what's the name of that actress. Very famous English actress, I believe. Anyway, fantastic. But Lady Macbeth, after she convinces Macbeth to kill the king to get the kingship, and the four weird women say your children will never be. She doesn't have kids. The reason she doesn't have kids when she says unsex me, the milk of human kindness. After she does that, and it happens, it's very clear in Michael Fassbender's Macbeth that she had an abortion.
What year is this Macbeth?
It's within the last 5 years.
Okay.
And it's Michael. It's unbelievable. It's on the battlefield. It's not like on a stage. They're not overplaying it. It's not, like some Shakespearean actor who's now in a movie or something. There's no melodrama. It's awesome. I've shown it to my teenage kids. There's battle scenes. It's like watching Braveheart Macbeth. I'm sure Michael Fassbender and his movies, and it's so fantastic. But what's clear is, as Lady Macbeth laments having killed Macbeth, killing the king to become king, which he does, she then drops to her knees and basically goes up Mount Calvary. And it's clear in this movie that it's all as a result when she says the milk of human kindness and take the baby from my breast and unsex me, meaning take away my femininity and give me the strength to do this. That's all she has left because she had an abortion. And I think it's very clear in this version of Macbeth. And so if you want to pull it forward and watch that. And if you don't agree with me, well, then you saw one of the greatest movies anyway, because it's in my top 20 movies of all time.
No, that's great. You know who would have paid for her abortion? Dr. Grant at the beginning of Jurassic Park.
Because as we know as a fact, he in real life was on the board of Planned Parenthood.
He got off, though, at the end. The dinosaurs scared the pro-abortion out of him.
Right.
Okay, so I have another one. Have you ever seen the movie St. Vincent with Bill Murray and Melissa McCarthy?
Yes.
Yeah, great movie.
It's fabulous. And there is a little bit of a raunchy scene at the beginning. So, you close your eyes for a little bit. But then it is beautiful.
Like 20 minutes.
Are we getting any details about that, or we're moving on? Okay.
Bill Murray and Naomi Watts plays a Russian, let's just call her a streetwalker. So there's a little bit of a scene at the beginning. But Melissa McCarthy is a single mom and defending her boy, who's just a fabulous little actor. Oh, by the way, I felt so badly about not knowing the actors in Wallace Island, that their names are Tim Key and Tom Baston. And they also wrote this together. And I've sort of become obsessed with that movie, and I read about them. And Tom Baston has had kids, and Tim Key is the godfather. And he said in that we used to go to the pub together, but now I go to see the kids first, and then I go to the pub. But anyway,
That's
Great.
funny.
That's great.
no, but St. Vincent is a fabulous movie, and I love movies that have really rough around the edges people, because they're both really down in their luck. They're next door neighbors, Bill Murray and Melissa McCarthy, who's a fabulous dramatic actress. And they both are, for being so funny. And anyway, I think it's a great pro-life film because at the end, he's like kind of this old washed up guy, Bill Murray, and he's kind of obsessed with gambling. And he ends up, she has a baby, and you wouldn't think that that's what would happen, and that's what happens.
He recently beat some guy up in a movie theater. I saw it on social media. Did you
Oh,
see
yeah?
it?
Well, sometimes you have a bad day.
Yeah. No, I don't think he had a bad day. I think the guy deserved what he
I
got.
think he deserved what
I was talking about that he was doing the right thing and he was a hero.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you need a good punch in the nose.
Well, you know that. Have you ever had issues with that? Like, Sean called you a celebrity. I would call you
I
a
have
movie
paparazzi
star.
outside my house right now.
Movie star. Exactly.
I can't make a
How do you
move.
deal with it, movie star? How do you
I
deal with
can't make
that?
a move, okay? I have people say to me, no, I'm kidding. They'll say like, like I said, they're like, did I go to college with you? And I'm like, no. And then one time I made a mistake of saying to this woman, she's like, how do I know you? I said, well, I've been in a lot of movies. She said, this was outside of Syracuse where I'm from. And she said, what did you do 4th of July? I said, I was at my Uncle Mickey's. She said, so was I. I was like, I will never again say I was in movies. I look like a big jerk.
he said,
No, do you shop at the Safeway? Yes.
well, then if somebody's like, were you the
Wait.
redheaded bus driver with Tom Hanks and Little Forrest? And you're like, no. I was at the 4th of July party.
Even worse, speaking of the Safeway, I was at the grocery store a couple years ago, and this woman's like, I know you. And I was like, and she's like, I loved you in Fargo. Like I wasn't in it.
Also a pro-life movie. The lady is pregnant. The lady
Yes.
that she missed
Yeah.
you for
I forgot, yeah.
is
But I
pregnant the
also
entire
feel-
time. What?
There's dignity of life movies that are pro-life. Like I just saw Sing Sing. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Sing.
It is about Sing Sing, and there's real. The people in it are real prisoners.
Sing Sing, the penitentiary.
in the penitentiary.
Okay.
And then there's one actor in it, and it's beyond brilliant. And they actually, it's true, rehearse these plays, Shakespeare plays, for 6 months, and then they put them on. But it really shows the dignity of life and how people can rehabilitate and find God and faith. And it's a beautiful story and also against the death penalty, which I am, because I feel that's pro-life.
Yeah.
And my movie,
No, it's
I don't mean to plug my own movie,
And
but Shelter.
Sing Sing covers the death penalty.
Well, not specifically, but it talks about, it's these prisoners who are, could be facing death, but they are living life and putting on plays and making the most of their situation. It's a beautiful story about hope. And
But they could be facing the death penalty.
yes, they could.
Sean, I know it's your turn, but your last one was, I'm worried about your psych.
The last one, I think I rocked your world.
I wanted you to ask Siobhan, because she's an expert and, of course, a movie star and knows all these people about, and I'd like to see your interchange about this thing. So China threatens us with, we're not going to bring in as many movies or something? Like I think, wouldn't that be a good thing to ask Siobhan about?
What do you think of China?
I think that every day is hilarious. So the newest is that with the tariff wars that I read is that they're saying, well, we're not going to have any American movies. Well, I don't know if you know this, but the Chinese do not allow disrespect to women in their movies, and they make American producers take those things out, which I find to be highly ironic.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Because now they're like, we don't want your movies because of this tariff war. And then why do we leave that garbage in for our audiences, American audiences? Why don't we do the same? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the communist government won't allow certain things.
Well,
you spent a lot of time.
I did. I've been in China for
Isn't pornography illegal?
Yeah, they take out the nudity. They take out any dismemberment. They take out, like, you can't have graphic novel movies. They take out the splashing blood, a lot of the cursing. But it seems to be order. But remember, it's atheist, secular disorder where they put the you hear about all these, they put one race as a lower race, and they essentially have a caste system and all this stuff. And it's ordered disorder. So they have created a movie which is much more wholesome, but through them deciding in the Politburo what gets to be in a movie and not in a movie, it results in what we as Christians and Catholics would call a more moral movie, because it takes out most nudity, it takes out most fighting and decapitation, even in war movies, and it takes out this disrespect to women. But if you want to go to a society that doesn't respect women by killing women babies in the womb over men babies in the womb, and importing women to marry the men because there aren't enough women who look like Chinese so that their kids can look Asian and such like that, you might want to research whether what I'm saying is accurate, which it is, about what's going on in China. So I think that's the dualism that you're pointing out.
Yeah, order disorder. That's a good.
But we're a Christian country. We should have order. We should just not have that filth to begin with.
Right? Yes.
Like, what about actually being funny? You're one of the funniest people, not just that we know, but on earth. And everybody, we know tons of people. We talk.
And you two are funny.
We talk to Kaylee. Everybody agrees. You're the funniest person.
You're very funny.
Why can't people just be funny like you? Why do they have to put in cursing and filth?
You know, I don't know. My daughter, my youngest daughter, Sinead, she's really funny. So she tried stand-up comedy recently, and she's a really good actress. And she said to me, "Mom," she's really deadpan, which is funny because, like, how is she deadpan? But anyway, she's like, "Mom," really deep voice. She's like, "I don't think I'm going to do stand-up comedy anymore." I said, "Why?" She said, "It's depressing because it's very dirty. Everyone's got to be dirty, dirty, dirty." I actually was asked to judge, we're getting off topic on the movies, but a comedy contest. I was one of 3 judges, and there was 10 comics who were down to the end of some contest. And I was like, you guys are young, but Matt, you probably remember Cindy Brady in the Brady Bunch when she froze, because I didn't think they were funny at all, the first 5, because I thought they were filthy. And then the 5th person was really funny. And I said, now see, this guy has a point of view and something to talk about. Anybody can be dirty. It's so easy.
It is, but that was Seinfeld's whole thing of, like, he's like, it's so lazy. And he said, I don't he's like, Chris Rock's hilarious. He's a friend of mine, but I don't do that. I don't cuss in my act. And I just point out, grape nuts. You open the box, there's no grapes, there's no nuts. What's the deal? And, like, he's just making these daily observations that are funny.
I didn't listen to anything after you called me old.
But see, that's what's weird, Siobhan, is that the greatest to do it ever didn't do that.
Listen, Matt.
And he's still alive.
You're absolutely right.
Like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was on Seinfeld with Jerry, I was Play Elaine's roommate, and he's so funny. Like,
you dated Kramer.
I dated Kramer, and I was afraid my father was going to kill me because there was a dance that I thought my father would think was inappropriate. Then he thought it was funny. Like, talk about order disorder, my family, but whatever. So I was like, my father's going to kill me. This dance is probably inappropriate. And he's like, that was funny. And I'm like, oh, good.
Is this where you fall over the glass coffee table?
Yes, exactly. So, but Jerry Seinfeld, when we would do the scenes, I'd be like, Jerry, and he would look to the side of my head, like passed my hat, and I was like, "Where are you looking?" He goes, "I can't look at you because if I look at you, I'm going to laugh." But yeah,
Yeah, that is comedy has definitely taken a hit. And then, of course, another rant we could do is once we did the 2020 cancel everybody, you can't make fun of race, religion, gender, you can't make fun of anything. It just killed it all together.
yeah.
So
I think it's coming back though.
I think it's coming back. We saw Seinfeld last year. He came to Houston, and Mary Lisa and I went and saw him, and it was an unbelievable hour and 15 minutes of he just is completely in charge for this whole time. And then he brings it back, sums it up, and he walks off. And it felt like he was out for 5 minutes. And every moment was like perfectly done, executed. You're cracking up the whole time. And he's just a total pro.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Might I say, by the way, that my movie, not to plug myself, but Shelter in Solitude is another one that's pro-life and against the death penalty.
I haven't seen that.
I'm
glad you said that. I haven't seen that. I'm shamefully I haven't seen that. And I love everything you're in because you're the funniest person.
You
in the
have
world.
to see it.
I'm gonna go watch that. When
Robert
did that come out?
Patrick from the Terminator, T-1000, my good friend, he plays the warden in it. And he's his wife has left him. We're all broken people. Anyway, and then there's Peter Macon is this fabulous actor. He's the guy on death row. And Dan Castellaneta, who's Homer Simpson, plays the prison guard. Yeah, but anyway, it's very
great.
That's a good cast. I love Robert
Shelter
Patrick.
in Solitude, audience.
The T-1000. A little bit on the theme that we were just talking about, and I just realized I love this movie. This is a feel-good movie, but this is never getting made ever again, and it's Home Alone, where you are just going to have, it's this timeless thing. You have a loving family. You have a chaotic extended family that is portrayed well. It's insane. There's pizzas everywhere. The guy can't figure out whose house it is. It's just big family chaos, but positive. They, man and woman are married and love each other. They leave the kid home alone. That's funny because you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to abandon your children, and it's, and all of this. And then, of course, the mom is trying to get back, and she explodes on the airline guy, and, she's just determined to get back. And then the kid, who actually physically they show he doesn't need his parents. He doesn't need family. He can survive and cook and kill Joe Pesci, but he actually needs them. And he sort of discovers that, and it's just a feel good, and it's funny, and it's John Hughes, and it's all that good stuff. You get the Santa smoking, you get the funny stuff.
Yeah,
I love that. He's like, oh, stick out your little paw. There's a candy cane. And so just well done. The old man reuniting with his son. I don't know. They are incapable of making that movie today. I'm convinced.
It's definitely pro-family.
Definitely pro-family.
Oh, for sure. It's a great movie.
And it shows that kids are a pain. Kevin's a brat.
Well, Quiet Place 2.
Oh, yes.
So
yes,
if you want your kids to be able to watch, my kids said, I want to watch a horror movie, Dad. And I said, no, there's nothing good. I'm not dabbling in evil. It's a cult. So I sat my 12-year-old boy and my 14-year-old girl one down. And I said, fine, we'll watch A Pit in the Pendulum with Vincent Price. They were sitting normally on the couch, like, a half a pillow away from me. Within 5 minutes, they were both on either side of me. And after 20 minutes, my son stood up and said, who thinks of this? And ran out of the room. And it's terrifying. So if you want to watch I guess if there's a wholesome horror movie, The Pit and the Pendulum, obviously a classic short story, and then a classic movie with a classic actor. Did you ever meet Vincent Price?
I did not. I loved him.
But he was also very funny.
Oh, so funny.
So this movie, A Quiet Place, I think if you want a horror movie, it is horrible. But A Quiet Place 2, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. And I'll just leave it at that. They're famous people. They're actually married to each other. He actually dies in the first one, saving his family. But if you watch...
He directs... What's his name?
Krakauer?
But yeah,
Krakauer?
It's not Krakauer.
What's his name? Flintlock.
Jim from The Office.
Jim Krasinski.
Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
Yes,
yeah,
he's phenomenal. And he was in 13 Hours.
Okay, so he's really good, and his wife's in it in real life, and she's pregnant, and there's 2 other kids, and they do what they need to do. Another alien movie, although no one is raped to my knowledge by an alien in that movie, but it's such a great pro-life movie, and she has the baby during A Quiet Place too.
And
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, I got
that's
one.
a
for you.
that's a rare one where the sequel's better than the first one. It's
Definitely.
like Aliens and Terminator.
And the sequel, I think your kid should be a couple years more teenager.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is
Come to find out when your son ran out of the room.
yes. Well, that was Pit and the Pendulum. That was a 70-year-old movie. No, he didn't run out of A Quiet Place. That was Pit and the Pendulum he ran out on.
Okay, have you seen the movie Peanut Butter Falcon?
Yes.
No.
One of the greatest, one of my very, like when everyone's like, tell me a good movie and you know, it didn't, it should have done much better than it did, I feel.
With the Down syndrome child.
Yes. So
Awesome.
I feel that this film, because it's about Shia LaBeouf is put together inadvertently with this Down syndrome child, and you don't see the beauty of Down syndrome children much anymore because people they're just aborted. It's terrible. And it's this beautiful relationship that celebrates the joy and the angelic qualities of Down syndrome. A Down syndrome, probably in his 20s.
Sean and I have talked about all the families that we know and all the thousands of kids that we have in combined, not together.
Yeah.
A lot of them have Down syndrome kids. They're the best kid. They
The
never
best.
leave you. They never ask for the car keys. They are always there. And they're great kids. And everyone says, this is my best kid.
And no one says, boy, we really should have made you one of the, statistics of the 93% that get aborted. You really have been a
The
pain.
100% in Iceland. Remember,
Iceland.
Iceland said they cured Down syndrome
2018.
because they killed every
No.
single child in the womb. Every single one. You talk about genocide. I'm glad Trump's not trying to buy Iceland.
Yeah, I know. They were, yeah. No, Iceland, CBS reported in 2018 that Iceland had eradicated Down syndrome. And you can apparently
They
do
had
that when you kill all the people that have something. You'll
Well, that is
eradicate.
more true than cured.
Yeah.
So Shia LaBeouf, is this, you see him on Bishop Barron and all this stuff. Is he becoming trad Catholic or what? Do you know him?
Well, I played his mother in Holes.
Oh.
I was Shia LaBeouf's mother in Holes.
I saw that, and you looked like his sister, to tell you the truth.
Oh, of course I did.
You looked about the
So,
same.
Of course I did.
And
So,
I don't know, you were so much
I'm-
better looking than him. It was hard to, but anyway.
Well, it's like, how could she possibly be the mother? She must
no,
have
I
gotten.
know, exactly. She's
How
younger
could
than
she
him.
I don't believe this.
She's
for a
younger
second.
than him.
She's a fountain of youth. Oh no, but Shia LaBeouf is great. I mean, I knew him when he was 14 years old. He's a great guy who had if you see the movie Honey Boy, you'll see that he had a very rough upbringing.
That's a
And so
disturbing
he
name.
went through a rough patch, but don't we all? But it's hard to go through a rough patch when you are in the public eye. So I do believe he's a very authentic Catholic, and I think he's very smart, and I think he's very devout. I think he's really an example.
Well, I hope he leads others.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it? Is it yours?
I just went.
Oh, no, you
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, it's me. Okay, my last one. By the way, obviously I'm doing movies that I feel the audience has seen multiple times, and I'm trying to add another perspective.
Color
Oh,
commentary.
wait a minute. You think people have
Colored-
seen? You think people have seen Jurassic Park and Home Alone?
Give us a uplifting story about drowning on a boat cruise or something.
No, I better than that. This one has to do with like blowing up helicopters.
Oh, great.
We've mentioned this before, but I've got to emphasize it, and I think
It's a sensitive time for that.
I know, and this is a sensitive time with AI. Terminator 2 is more pro-life today than it's ever been in the history of the world, okay? And we've talked about this before. You have this, the end of the world coming, and it's, the son of a single mom, who's John Connor, and he's going to save the world. So you have that kind of theme of the Terminators. But what was interesting, if you watch it now, it's a lot different post-COVID, and it's a lot different with AI, because the whole thing with AI is people are like, we have to use it, it's the future, or it's the devil, we can't use it, it's awful. And Terminator 2, it's both, because the good guys are using the technology. They're sending the Terminator back to protect the human who's going to save us from the end of the world. And so it's not like they're burying their head in the sand saying, the computers are taking over. And I've been telling my kids, every day, like the old man, the computers are taking over. And that's happening, but we have to use the computers. We have to use AI. I'm now arguing for AI, for good. And it boils down to the point of Jurassic Park also, which is your morality, your ethical formation, your belief in God or disbelief in God will determine how you can handle power and responsibility. And Terminator 2 is great. Plus, the poor kid doesn't have a dad, and now he's got a robot for a dad, essentially.
Poor Sean. Sometimes these are just fun movies.
Did you tear up at the end when he's lowered into the lava?
Okay, you're not going to believe this. I've never seen Terminator.
That's shameful. And you're a 90s actress.
I know, because that's not my kind of movie. But I have to see it because, as I said, Robert Patrick is one of my best friends.
That's his biggest movie ever.
I know. I hope he doesn't hear this. And
great runner. Best
sending it to him.
He's the best movie runner in the history of movie runners. He's better than Tom Cruise.
Yes, but by the way, I've seen that clip. I've seen clips of it. See, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't have a big attention span. So,
Terminator 2 is an example.
No, that's a revelation.
There goes Macbeth.
The light bulb
Macbeth's out.
Well, I had to read Macbeth.
Terminator 2, you don't need a doctorate.
What language are they speaking? Who are these weird women? They're actually
Well, it's kind of a guy's movie, don't you think?
What's wrong with your eyes? It's not a guy's movie. Linda Hamilton is the star.
No, it's not.
She's with her on SNL 1,000 years ago because she was so popular from the Terminator.
Now I'm going cosmic. That's like
didn't.
saying Catholicism doesn't respect Mother Mary. She's the star. She's the hero.
The star.
It's not the man.
I have
it's not
to
the
watch
robot.
it.
And Linda Hamilton, you're not messing with her.
I told you not to kill anyone. He'll live. It's a great pro-life movie.
It's a great pro-life movie.
Just
when I was on Saturday Night Live,
it.
we had a scene with Linda Hamilton when it had a bar fight. I was like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Linda Hamilton." Anyway, it was ridiculous. I've got to watch it. It's ridiculous. No, but also, of course, I was going to The Sound of Music because the joy of the family, but also Forrest Gump is a very pro-life movie.
Oh yeah.
Did you know anyone in that?
What's that?
Did you know anyone in that?
I know myself was in it. I went down for
That's
bus
a little
training.
plug for you.
You're supposed to be when you're Dorothy. How is it 20 years passes and then little Forrest is?
Well, that's interesting. You should ask.
Did they shoot all that in one day?
Well, that's even more interesting. So in big films, they have the A unit and the B unit. So the B unit they get to when they have a chance. So when I did Forrest Gump, Dorothy Harris is the bus driver. It's like Lady Macbeth, only there's a bus. But anyway, I had to go down for bus training, and I was, let's see, how old was I? Maybe 32 years old. I've never been athletic my whole life, and they had me in a 1949 bus, and it didn't have power steering, so I was like, and this guy taught me, and he's like, "All right, Siobhan." He brought a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon to sit below me on the stairs, so the cameras couldn't see me. To train, and like, "All right, you want to go up around that corner there?" And I remember he's telling me about Elvis shooting a TV, and I was like, "This doesn't seem right that he's drinking beer while he's teaching." And I had to go for like several days. By the time we got to the set, they pulled the bus, and by the way, my arms hurt from the like most people feel if they work out. But anyway,
so it was an actual 49 model.
It was a 1949 bus.
Wow. Okay.
And they ended up pulling the bus, and all the kids on the bus, when you watch the movie, are really the producer or the crew, the director, the cinematographer's kids. So all I had to then do was brake. They're like, when we yell cut, you have to brake. We're going to pull the bus with the rope and da-da-da-da. So, okay. So action. So I was like, you come along, it's the bus to school. And then gets on the bus, and I got to move the bus. And they yelled cut, and I forgot to brake. And they're like, cut. And then we're going to slam into this thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. So I slam on the brakes, and all the kids, and they're like, lady, I hit my head. And I was like,
lady, I hit my head.
Keep it to a low roar. And it was sweltering, and they were like in flannel shirts. Anyway, it's a very great pro-life movie with Jenny, and Forrest Gump, and
Lieutenant Dan. The whole Lieutenant Dan character.
Dan, who I love.
He's the best.
He's the best. I met him at Catholic University. I was the MC, and they were honoring him. What a
Gary
class
Sinise.
act. He is a great American. He's so good to the vets. He's a
Yep.
beautiful person.
Yeah. No, and he is Lieutenant Dan. He got nominated for that, right? But he didn't win. Did he win?
I'm so old, I can't remember.
He should have.
He got not. Well, I think that was like Shawshank Redemption was out. There were a lot of movies during that. That was '96.
Yeah,
But
those were, that was great.
Gary
movies.
Sinise got nominated for Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Well, we know he should have won.
We know he should have won.
By the way, who knows who? Not 6 Degrees, but a Kevin Bacon story to show you. I love movies, but how dilapidated I am with one of my children. We're in New York at a restaurant, Club Macanudo, and in walks Kevin Bacon. It's in the middle of the day with some other guy, and he sits next to us, and I'm not that guy.
Right.
It's like Kevin, I'm like, so I said to my daughter, "Hey, that's Kevin Bacon," and she goes, "Great. Who's Kevin Bacon?"
Oh my word.
So they have a whole, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I have one kid who has never watched an entire movie or TV show. She just doesn't like it. She doesn't fall asleep. She's not that kid.
brilliant.
She just doesn't do it. So you couldn't use the electronic babysitter with her. So you had to read every hop on pop, every page, every line,
oh, yes.
But I have a Kevin Bacon movie, which I won't
Yes.
go into, and I have another movie, but she's having a baby.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
But I want to know, do you know Kevin Bacon?
Okay, interesting that you should ask. I do not know him, but I love his work, and I just saw him at the SNL 50th with his wife Kira Sedgwick, who I also think is a fabulous actress,
Me too.
Yeah, she's good.
and I think they're good people. He's also a great singer. Does he have a band? He has a band.
Yes, he does. Yes,
he
he
seems
does.
like he could do anything.
But
He
you know what?
does,
I
and,
think-
and he's got a TV show out now, where the devil takes him to hell, and he comes back to try and get out of hell and into and it's about him being a musician.
But he can play anything. Did you ever see Murder in the First?
Yes,
Where he's the killer. He's a scary guy in that. And then of course you have like Footloose, and you've got these fun Kevin Bacon movies. I love.
he's
Tremors.
also like a serial killer with Meryl Streep on
Yeah.
the river. And
Oh, River Wild. That's
Yeah.
another
Oh
one.
yeah, that was a good movie.
But then, and then of course I got to go arrest Kendrick.
But you were there with him, so you're only 1 degree of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
You're 1 degree.
No, I was going to say to you regarding your daughter. I think that's brilliant. When I was a struggling actress, I was out in Los Angeles for 2 years. I didn't fit in at all. It was a disaster. But like I wore a bathing cap in the pool, and these cool people by the pool were like, "You're not from here, are you?" And I was like, "I'm just trying to protect my red hair." But anyway, so I
wasn't the
taught
red
English
hair.
as a second language. That was my day job. And at the time, I'm so old, Reagan had this program where if you got paid to take English, to speak to take English classes. So anyway, a lot of my students were from South America. And one day I had to miss class. Oh no, I was going to have to miss class because I was down to the end for the new Carol Burnett show. And I was gloating. I was like, "Okay, guys, I won't be here tomorrow." I was like 28. "I am down to the end for the Carol Burnett show." And my student, Stella, I'll never forget it, raised her hand. She's from El Salvador, and she said, "Teacher, who is Carol Burnett?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm an idiot. And daisies, no one cares about who is famous.
Cares about
It's
this.
stupid.
It's stupid.
Gotta be a good person."
Still, it was Kevin Bacon.
I know. No.
Yeah, but-
He
but-
wasn't
but
just
truly.
Great in a few good
He
minutes.
wasn't just famous.
Yeah.
But I
there's a
was
game
with
about
Kevin
him.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I got.
That's what I got. That was
That's
great.
what I got.
That was great. That was wonderful.
Well,
we'll
God
put
bless
the-
you guys for doing this. You're good. You're good to be spreading positive, hopeful, funny, product, and tearing somebody apart once in a while.
Which you're doing with this.
I just reported the facts, and I'm blaming pro-abort Dr. Grant.
Can we move away from Flintlock?
Please leave your comments on the YouTube page for
That's
more.
gonna be
You gave
stuck in
us
my
a
head. I have
compliment,
insomnia
but
at night.
You're doing it in action in a tough place.
Yeah.
In entertainment, in the media world, in New York. Can we give 30 seconds to tell us about your new play? What's the name?
Yeah,
of it?
yeah, yeah.
It's called Mother's Last Day. And actually, there's two very unafraid Catholics, Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond and Margaret Colin
Both awesome.
from Gossip Girls. And so fabulous cast. And it's about, it's very pro-life. It's about my mother's last day, but it's a comedy, believe it or not. But it's about my Irish Catholic family and how we took care of my mother on her last day and fought like cats and dogs. There's a lot of rosaries, a lot of wine, a lot of fighting, but it's the respect of life for that last chapter that we all have to go through.
And thought-provoking.
Please.
I read it. We even had couple of the scenes that we even had some fisticuffs over. I read it.
Yes.
And you convinced me. You won the argument, of course, because you're so really famous, and I'm not, and smart and beautiful. And you won the argument, and it's still in the play. And I realized, she's right. It's thought-provoking. These things should be controversial.
Yeah.
They should be controversial. And you were right, but you attack this issue of end of life that everybody deals with,
Right.
with humor, but not inappropriate humor. I think it's great.
Thank you. And please watch Shelter in Solitude. It's on Amazon because it has 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you must see it. And if you don't, I'm not going to speak to you again.
Okay, great. Go.
Well, so we know an easy way out. If we
Yeah,
ever want that.
I don't know I don't know what reaction you want
Don't
from
take
that.
the bait. Don't take the bait.
I wish everyone I
take the
knew
bait.
gave me a key like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you will see more from Siobhan in the 40 Days for Life world. We have a lot coming out with her, and so she has been very, very good to us. Thank you, Siobhan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Please share your comments on the YouTube page, good, bad, and ugly. And please tell me how my hot take on Jurassic Park and poor Mr. Flint changed your life. So please rate, review, and share this podcast, and we will see you next time. God bless.